Did you know the world's largest crossword puzzle has over 66,000 squares? In 2015, Japanese puzzle master Nomio created the world's largest crossword puzzle. This gigantic puzzle boasts 66,666 clues and 93,700 squares. It took 4 years to complete and was displayed in a Japanese shopping mall. Today it's preserved in a book form, giving puzzle lovers a chance to marvel at this monumental brain teaser. Did you know that the first blogs appeared just a quarter of a century ago? It's hard to imagine the internet without blogs today, but did you know the first use of the word blog was recorded only in 1997? The term was a contraction of weblog, literally meaning internet diary. Back then, blogs were simple online journals where people shared their thoughts and experiences. However, as with everything on the internet, blogs evolved. Today, they cover everything from personal notes to global news, professional advice, and guides on any topic. They have become a powerful tool for self-expression, communication, and even business. Can you imagine that what started as a hobby has grown into a way to shape public opinion and the flow of information? Is it possible? The world's longest staircase is on a mountain. Located on Mount Nianbo Yartze in China, there is a staircase stretching approximately 9 kilometers with over 7,000 steps. The climb takes several hours and requires physical endurance, but the view from the top is worth all the effort. Every year, thousands of tourists take this path to see the incredible landscapes visible only from high above. Can you imagine that there's a village in Poland with upside-down houses? In the village of Szymbark, Poland, there's a unique house that stands upside down. It's not just an artistic installation, but a real tourist attraction that you can enter. The house was built as a symbol of the upheavals and changes that Poland experienced in the 20th century. Inside, everything is also upside down: the furniture, the stairs, and even the windows. Visitors who enter often feel slightly disoriented because the inverted space creates a dizzying effect. This place has become a tourist sensation and a must-see for anyone visiting the area. Why don't newborns cry tears? Newborn babies can cry, but they don't shed tears. How is that possible? Their tear glands are not fully developed. In fact, it can take several weeks for newborns to start crying with tears. So while babies can loudly express their dissatisfaction, you won't see real tears until sometime after birth. This is one of the little wonders that happen in the first weeks of a baby's life. Why does fish rain actually happen? In the city of Yoro, Honduras, an unusual phenomenon occurs every year: rain of fish. This strange natural event happens during the heavy summer storms when hundreds of live fish fall to the ground along with the rain. Locals call it lluvia de peces and believe it to be a divine blessing. However, scientists suggest that strong water spouts form in the atmosphere, lifting fish from nearby bodies of water and depositing them kilometers away. It's one of those phenomena that remind us how surprising and unpredictable nature can be. What if I told you that a blink lasts only 0.3 of a second? Blinking is one of the fastest reactions of our body, and each one takes about 0.3 of a second. But despite its speed, blinking serves an important function. It moistens our eyes, protects them from dust, and even gives the brain a moment to rest. Throughout the day, we blink around 20,000 times without even noticing it. So the next time you blink, remember, your body is working like a true biological machine, taking care of you every second. El Popo, Mexico's fiery mountain. Popocatépetl, known as El Popo, is one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the world, located just 50 kilometers from Mexico City. It regularly spews thousands of tons of gas and ash into the air, keeping geologists and locals on their toes. Its unpredictable nature makes it a constant threat, but also serves as a reminder of nature's power and destructive force. Each eruption of El Popo is a reminder that our planet is alive and capable of awe-inspiring phenomena. Why do you think giraffes have black tongues? Giraffes have tongues nearly 1/2 meter long, and they're not just black, they're blue-black. This unique color isn't random, it protects them from the sun. Giraffes spend hours each day stripping leaves from tall trees under the hot sun. The dark color acts like a natural sunscreen, preventing sunburn. This amazing adaptation lets giraffes spend all the time they need in the sun without worry. Nature thought of everything. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Røros, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and today tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the north. Did you know that Tokyo has buildings that can grow? Tokyo has a construction technology that allows buildings to increase in height even after completion. The foundation is reinforced so that additional floors can be added later. This saves space in the metropolis and adapts to changing demands. For example, the Mizushima skyscraper was built with 14 floors, but later grew to 20. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. Who would have thought that jellyfish are 95% water? Jellyfish are almost ethereal in appearance, and no wonder, 95% of their bodies are made of water. This high water content allows them to float gracefully through the ocean, moving with the currents as if weightless. Despite their simple structure, jellyfish have existed for hundreds of millions of years, perfectly adapted to life in the ocean. Their delicate, watery forms remind us of the fragility and beauty of marine ecosystems. Honeyguide, the bird that will help you find honey if you share it. Imagine being lost in the African wilderness searching for food. In this case, you'd need one special bird, the honeyguide. This unique bird species can literally talk to you and lead you to beehives. But there's a catch. When the honeyguide helps you find honey, it expects you to share it. If you don't, the next time the bird may lead you not to honey, but to something dangerous, like a venomous snake. So it's better not to be greedy. This is an example of true partnership between humans and nature. Why does Japan have an island inhabited only by rabbits? On Okinoshima, known as Rabbit Island, hundreds of fluffy bunnies roam freely, feeling like the rightful rulers of the place. Originally, rabbits were brought here for scientific experiments during World War II. After the war ended, they were released and their population grew rapidly. Now tourists from all over the world come to play and feed these friendly animals. Cats and dogs are prohibited on the island to protect the rabbit population, turning it into a true paradise for animal lovers. The shortest war lasted only 38 minutes. In 1896, a war broke out between Britain and the Sultanate of Zanzibar, which became the shortest in history. The conflict began when the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to comply with British demands. Britain sent warships into the harbor, and within 38 minutes of intense bombardment, the Sultan surrendered. During that time, the British ships destroyed the Sultan's palace and his fleet before installing a new ruler who supported British interests. This record for the fastest war conclusion has never been broken. Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. 857 hours of film, the longest movie in the world. The Swedish experimental film Logistics is officially the longest film in the world. Its duration is 857 hours. That's 35 days and 17 hours. The film was shot in real time and depicts the fascinating, though quite monotonous journey of a pedometer, a device for measuring distance, from a factory in China to a buyer in Sweden. If you want to watch the entire film, you'll need almost a month and a half of continuous viewing. Who would have thought that logistics could be so long? Camels, the giants of the desert. Despite popular belief, camels didn't always live in deserts. They originally descended from ancient animals that roamed the forests of North America around 30 million years ago. Over time, they migrated to Africa and Asia, where their humps became an adaptation for surviving in hot climates. These humps, filled with fat, allow camels to go without water for up to 2 weeks. They can drink up to 50 liters of water at once, making them masters of survival in environments where other creatures would perish. Camels remain a vital part of life for many desert communities. The most expensive painting ever sold went for hundreds of millions. In 2017, Leonardo da Vinci's painting, Salvator Mundi, Savior of the World, was sold at auction for an astonishing $450 million. This masterpiece was long considered lost until it was rediscovered in the 20th century. Even after its discovery, debates over its authenticity continued. Many wondered if it was truly painted by Leonardo himself. Nevertheless, its sale made history, turning Salvator Mundi into the most sought-after art piece in the world. It turns out that icebergs have colorful stripes. Depending on the composition and conditions of formation, icebergs can be striped in green, blue, yellow, or even black. Green stripes are formed due to algae, blue due to dense ice, and yellow and brown due to iron presence. These colorful stripes are only visible in bright sunlight, making them even more mysterious and rare natural phenomena. Did you know why watches in ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hands set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way, the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. Why do you think the world's most expensive coffee costs so much? Kopi Luwak is the world's most expensive coffee, priced at a whopping $600 per pound. This exotic brew is made from coffee beans that have been eaten and passed through the digestive system of the civet, a small animal found in Southeast Asia. Enzymes in the civet's stomach alter the flavor of the beans, making them smoother and less bitter. The result is a coffee with a unique, mild taste that coffee enthusiasts are willing to pay top dollar for. Is it true that you can see kangaroos on the streets in Australia? Absolutely true. In some Australian cities, there are so many kangaroos that they hop around the streets like regular pedestrians. They're especially common in Canberra, where kangaroos even cause traffic jams. Locals are used to this sight, but it's always a surprise for tourists. In these cities, there are even special signs warning drivers about tail-walking pedestrians. Can you imagine that bananas are actually berries? Despite their shape and size, bananas are, botanically speaking, berries. It all comes down to how they develop from a flower. But here's the twist. Strawberries, which we often think of as berries, technically aren't. Although bananas look more like a fruit, their internal structure and growth process mark them as true berries. So, next time you enjoy a banana, remember you're eating a bona fide berry. Amazingly, trees can communicate with each other. Scientists have discovered that trees communicate through root systems and fungal networks. This so-called wood wide web allows trees to share nutrients and warn each other about pests. They can send signals about water scarcity or threats so that nearby trees can prepare. This communication system makes forests much more complex and interconnected than we ever imagined. Vatican City, the smallest country in the world. Vatican City is an independent city-state located within Rome, Italy, and it covers an area of just about 0.49 square kilometers, making it the smallest country in the world. Despite its modest size, the Vatican is a significant center of the Catholic Church and home to many renowned historical sites like St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel. Its population is around 800 people, making it not only the smallest by area, but also one of the least populated states in the world. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast. But there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. Have you ever wondered if elephants can get hangovers? In Africa, elephants love the fruits of the marula tree, which when overripe, ferment and become alcoholic. Elephants can eat up to 20 kilograms of these fruits at once, sometimes causing a mild alcoholic effect. It has been observed that after such feasts, elephants become more sluggish and even prefer to rest. Some scientists claim that this phenomenon is similar to a hangover in humans, and perhaps that's why elephants occasionally avoid marula. Did you know that crocodiles can digest metal objects? A crocodile's stomach is a powerhouse of digestion. It produces one of the strongest acids in the animal kingdom, capable of breaking down bones and even metal. This trait is especially handy when crocodiles swallow stones to regulate their weight or accidentally ingest metal objects like fishing hooks or nails. This incredible digestive power ensures that they can thrive in the wild by consuming almost anything that comes their way. So if a crocodile accidentally swallows something metal, it has no problem making a meal out of it. Why a day on Venus is longer than its year? Did you know that one day on Venus is longer than an entire Venusian year? Venus rotates around its axis so slowly that it takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation. But its orbit around the Sun, lasts only around 225 days. Imagine standing on Venus, watching the Sun rise and set over the course of several months. By the time a Venusian evening arrives, 2 Earth years have passed. This makes Venus one of the most paradoxical planets in our solar system. Imagine for a moment. The Sahara Desert is the largest desert on Earth. The Sahara Desert is not just a desert, it's a giant oven. Covering over 9 million square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world. It spans much of North Africa, covering an area roughly the size of China or the United States. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar up to 58 degrees Celsius, about 136 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the hottest places on Earth. Did you know ketchup was originally sold as medicine? In the 19th century, ketchup was considered not just a tasty condiment, but a real medicine. It was developed as a remedy for digestive problems and sold in pharmacies. Imagine going in for stomach relief and getting a bottle of ketchup. Today it seems strange as we are used to ketchup on burgers and fries, but its journey from pharmacies to kitchens was surprisingly interesting. Peanuts aren't nuts, they're legumes. You might be surprised to learn that, botanically speaking, peanuts aren't actually nuts. Peanuts belong to the legume family, like peas, beans, and lentils. Unlike true nuts, such as walnuts and almonds, peanuts grow underground and don't have a hard shell enclosing a single seed. A nut, in botanical terms, is a dry fruit with a hard shell, but peanuts don't fit that definition. Even though we often think of them as nuts, they're technically closer to peas and beans, but with a unique taste all their own. Can you imagine that eagles symbolize philosophical power? In philosophy, the eagle often represents concepts such as strength, decisiveness, and honor. This majestic bird symbolizes control and authority. The eagle's powerful gaze is seen as a reflection of leadership qualities, inspiring people to consider them as rulers in the realm of ideas. Philosophers have long used the image of the eagle to illustrate the power of thought and action. It's hard to believe, but there are trees that walk. In the Amazon, there is a palm tree known as Socratea exoriza, which locals call the walking palm. This tree can move short distances over the course of several years in search of better growing conditions. Its roots gradually shift, causing the palm to step. While it's not a real walk, the plant's ability to move toward the light makes it unique in the plant world. Who would have thought that dolphins sleep with one eye open? Yes, it's true. Dolphins have a unique ability to shut down half of their brain while the other half remains active. This allows them to rest while staying alert for predators and maintaining control over their breathing. Imagine being able to sleep while still ready to wake up at any moment. This evolutionary trick helps dolphins survive in the ocean, the chewing gum pack that changed retail forever. Imagine that the first product ever sold with a barcode was a pack of Wrigley's chewing gum. This historic event took place on June 26, 1974, in a supermarket in Ohio. This moment marked the beginning of a new era in retail, where barcodes became standard for simplifying shopping and inventory tracking. Barcodes quickly became a global standard and are still used in every store today. So the next time you buy something with a barcode, remember that it all started with a simple pack of chewing gum. Did you know plastic bags can take centuries to decompose? The plastic bags we use every day can take up to several hundred years to decompose, or even longer. Unlike organic materials, plastic doesn't easily break down because it's not part of nature's cycle. Over time, it degrades into smaller pieces known as microplastics, but this process takes decades. This poses a serious environmental problem, highlighting the need to rethink how we use and dispose of plastic in our daily lives. Why is there a restaurant in Tokyo where real ninjas serve food? In Tokyo, there is a restaurant where waiters dress as ninjas, and it's wildly popular. The waiters perform tricks, vanish into thin air, and serve dishes with an air of mystery. The menu features exotic dishes, served with an element of surprise, and every meal is accompanied by a show. It's not just a restaurant, it's a full adventure for those who have always dreamed of seeing ninjas in action. Is it true that Iceland has no railways? Iceland really has no railways, despite technological advancements in other countries. The main reason is the geographical features of the country, which consists of volcanic rocks and mountainous terrain, making railway construction extremely difficult and expensive. Additionally, due to the small population, roads are a more convenient mode of transport. So despite all the progress, you won't find trains there. Did you know chickens are descendants of tyrannosaurs? The next time you see a chicken, think about this. You're looking at a distant descendant of the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. Scientific research has shown that chickens and some other modern birds share more traits with these prehistoric predators than any other living animal. This genetic link between chickens and dinosaurs may seem strange, but it's yet another fascinating example of how evolution shapes species. Who would have thought that the mighty T-Rex would one day evolve into a humble chicken? You'll never look at chickens the same way again. Did you know that Earth is not a perfect sphere? Our planet is far from being a perfect sphere. Its rotation causes it to bulge slightly at the equator and flatten at the poles. This shape is known as a geoid and results from the centrifugal force generated by Earth's spin. The difference in diameter between the poles and the equator is around 40 kilometers. This deviation from a perfect sphere shows how dynamic Earth truly is, always shaped by the forces acting upon it, even in ways we can't see from the surface. The lonely giant, the saddest whale on the planet. Imagine a whale that sings at a frequency no one else can hear. This unique whale, dubbed the 52 Hz whale, is known for singing at 52 Hz, much higher than other whales. Because of this, it cannot communicate with other whales, and it is considered the loneliest whale in the world. Scientists and the public have followed this whale since the 1980s, and its solitary songs remain a mystery. Perhaps its story is more than just an anomaly. It could be a symbol of our own isolation in the modern world. Did you know that wild bananas are full of seeds? Most people imagine bananas as sweet, soft fruits, but it turns out that wild bananas are quite different. They are literally packed with large seeds, making them extremely inconvenient to eat. The bananas we enjoy today are the result of selective breeding, which has made the seeds almost invisible. Imagine, without human intervention, bananas would be a completely different fruit, and eating them would be far less enjoyable. Did you know there's a banana you shouldn't eat? In Hawaii, a unique type of banana called the plantain banana grows, which despite its appetizing appearance, is not meant to be eaten. It tastes very bitter, somewhat like a potato. Locals use it for weaving traditional crafts rather than food. Tourists are often surprised by these bananas, but the locals are quick to warn, don't try eating them. Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute, it serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding on to each other, they form small floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. What's the longest time between the birth of twins? The longest recorded gap between the birth of twins is 87 days. This astonishing record was set when one twin was born prematurely and the other stayed in the womb for almost 3 more months. Imagine that. One twin born at the end of 1 year and the other in the following year. This unusual story adds a remarkable milestone to the family's life, creating a unique timeline between the births of these twins. Did you know the largest diamond in the world weighed more than 3,000 carats? The Cullinan diamond, found in 1905 in South Africa, is the largest diamond ever discovered. It weighed a staggering 3,160 carats. This unique gem was divided into several pieces, some of which adorn the British royal regalia. This diamond is a true wonder of nature, and its size is simply breathtaking. Did you know the world's oldest recipe is for beer? The oldest known beer recipe dates back to around 4,000 years before our era in ancient Sumeria. This ancient beer shows how long the tradition of brewing has been preserved. Sumerians brewed beer from barley, and this process was a key part of their culture for millennia. Who would have thought that the tradition of beer is so ancient and still thriving today? How do you think chickens can sleep with their eyes open? Chickens have a unique ability called unihemispheric sleep, where one hemisphere of their brain can enter deep sleep while the other remains alert. This allows them to keep one eye open, monitoring their surroundings while the other half of their brain rests. This ability is crucial for their survival in the wild, where danger can strike at any moment. Imagine being able to nap while keeping a watchful eye out for predators. Chickens are true natural guards. It's a skill that makes them well adapted to a life full of surprises. Have you ever wondered if sand can turn into glass? Glass is made by heating sand to a temperature above 1,400 degrees Celsius, at which point it melts. The result is a material that looks completely different from the original sand. This process was discovered in ancient Egypt and is still used today to make everything from windows to high-tech smartphone screens. So ordinary sand literally transforms into a transparent material that has changed our world. Kiwi, the bird that can't fly but rules New Zealand. The kiwi bird is not just a national symbol of New Zealand, it's a true star. Despite having wings, the kiwi can't fly, but that doesn't stop it from being an icon of its country. These small birds are known for their unique appearance and habits. They are nocturnal and use their keen sense of smell to find food. The kiwi is so important to New Zealand that the locals call themselves Kiwi. This proves that even the smallest and most unusual bird can become the symbol of an entire nation. Did you know there's a basketball court on top of the U.S. Supreme Court building? Yes, you heard that right. At the very top of the U.S. Supreme Court building, there's a basketball court known as the highest court in the land. It's a place where judges and court staff can relax and play basketball between hearings. Imagine, after making important decisions, the justices can shed their robes and shoot some hoops, trading legal arguments for basketball shots. It's a truly unique combination of law and sport. Owls don't just see, they mesmerize. Owls don't have typical eyeballs. Instead, they have specialized tubular eyes. This unique adaptation allows them to keep their eyes fixed, giving them exceptional binocular vision and the ability to rotate their heads almost 270 degrees. Thanks to this, owls become masters of nighttime hunting, detecting even the slightest movements in complete darkness. Their eyes are more than just organs of sight. They are powerful tools that make them incredible hunters. And every time they turn their heads, it's like witnessing nature's magic in action. Amazingly, Norway has a special underwater restaurant. Norway has opened Europe's first underwater restaurant called Under. It is submerged 5 meters underwater, and through large panoramic windows, diners can observe the underwater world without leaving their table. The restaurant offers not only gourmet cuisine, but also the chance to watch fish and sea creatures swimming just meters away from you. This unique restaurant has become a major attraction for food lovers and nature enthusiasts alike. Why do owls have asymmetrical ears? Owls are not only known for their sharp eyes, but also for their unique ears, which are placed asymmetrically on their heads. This unusual arrangement allows them to pick up sounds in 3 dimensions, pinpointing the location of prey, even if it's hidden under a layer of snow or leaves. This special auditory adaptation makes owls masters of nighttime hunting, capable of seeing the world through sounds. It explains why they are so successful as nocturnal predators. Imagine for them, every rustle is like a flash of light in the dark. Did you know that earthquakes also happen on the moon? Yes, indeed, the moon experiences its own kind of tremors, known as moonquakes. These shakes can be caused by Earth's gravitational pull, meteor impacts, or tidal forces, and they can last for up to an hour. Surprisingly, moonquakes can reach magnitudes of up to 5.5 on the Richter scale. Just imagine, the moon, our constant celestial companion, reacts to Earth's gravitational pull as if dancing in space alongside our planet. This shows that the moon is more alive and dynamic than we might think. Did you know Venus spins backwards? Unlike most planets in our solar system, Venus rotates in the opposite direction, meaning the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Scientists are still unsure what caused this bizarre behavior, but one theory suggests that Venus may have collided with a massive asteroid long ago, altering its axis. And here's another mind-blowing fact. A day on Venus is actually longer than its year. Radioactive bananas. Yes, it's true. Did you know that bananas are radioactive? Yes, your favorite fruit contains a small amount of the radioactive isotope potassium-40. But don't worry, you would have to eat a huge number of bananas at once to be harmed by radiation. This natural radioactivity poses no health risk, but it does make bananas an interesting example of how nature can surprise us with unexpected properties. So the next time you enjoy a banana, you can impress your friends with this surprising fact. Penicillin was discovered by accident, and it saved millions of lives. In 1928, Alexander Fleming returned from vacation to his laboratory and noticed that one of his Petri dishes, infected with bacteria, was covered in mold. He was amazed to find that bacteria were not growing around the mold. This was the beginning of the discovery of penicillin, the world's first antibiotic, which completely transformed medicine and saved countless lives. A chance discovery became one of the greatest breakthroughs in human history. Can you imagine sharks that walk on the ocean floor? Yes, there are sharks that literally walk on the seafloor. These amazing creatures are known as epaulet sharks and belong to the genus Hemicillium. They use their fins like legs, moving across the ocean floor in search of food. This ability allows them to hunt even in the shallowest areas of reefs, where swimming would be difficult. Their unique adaptation makes them true walking sharks among their kind. Isn't this an example of how incredible nature can be, giving a marine predator such unusual skills? Is it true that in Argentina there is a river that burns? The Quirecura River in Argentina is famous for its unusual fiery phenomena. Periodically, fiery geysers erupt from its depths. This happens due to underground methane deposits, which ignite when they come into contact with air. Amazingly, this river is not only a beautiful natural phenomenon, but also raises concerns among scientists, as constant gas emissions could signal larger natural disasters. Locals call it the River of Spirits, linking it to ancient legends. Did you know that artificial intelligence has been around since the 1950s? Artificial intelligence, or AI, began its development in the mid-20th century and has since revolutionized various industries. From virtual assistants to autonomous vehicles, AI has become an integral part of our daily lives. Today, AI is used in healthcare, finance, transportation, and entertainment, transforming how we live and work. The growth of AI is an incredible journey of technological evolution, showcasing how far we've come in understanding and creating intelligent machines. The first footprint on the moon could stay there for over 1 million years. When Neil Armstrong made his famous footprint on the surface of the moon in 1969, little did he know that it could remain there for millions of years. Because the moon has no atmosphere, there are no processes like wind or rain to erase the print. This makes the moon a kind of time capsule, where astronauts' footprints could remain almost forever. That footprint will always be a symbol of humanity's drive to explore and conquer space. How did ancient Egyptians predict the flooding of the Nile? The ancient Egyptians believed that the flooding of the Nile depended on the position of the star Sirius in the sky. They watched for its rising and knew that when Sirius appeared, the time of the flood was approaching, bringing fertility and wealth to their land. Sirius was so important to the ancient Egyptians that it was even associated with the goddess Isis. This star helped predict harvests and prevent famine, holding significance for thousands of years. Why do you think there are ice hotels in the world? In some northern countries, such as Sweden and Canada, hotels are built entirely out of ice. Every year, these buildings are reconstructed as they melt by the end of winter. Ice hotels offer guests the opportunity to sleep on ice beds, in ice rooms, surrounded by ice sculptures. However, warm sleeping bags are provided to ensure a comfortable night's stay. It's a unique way to experience the real winter. Gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. Funny name or serious science? Who would have thought that one of the largest and most majestic animals on the planet bears such a funny scientific name? The western lowland gorilla is classified as gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. In biology, binomial nomenclature is used to classify species, and the repetition of the name here emphasizes the uniqueness of this particular subspecies. While it may sound amusing, for scientists, it's standard practice. Such naming helps to precisely identify species, avoiding confusion with other subspecies. So next time you see a gorilla, you can jokingly refer to its official scientific name. Can you imagine that some fungi control insects? Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, which literally turns ants into zombies. The fungus invades the ant's body and takes over its mind, forcing it to climb up a tree before it dies. Then the fungus sprouts out of the ant's head and releases spores to infect others. It sounds like a horror movie plot, but these fungi really exist, and it's one of nature's most mind-blowing phenomena. Did you know that beneath Amsterdam is a complex sewer system? In addition to the famous canals that cross Amsterdam, there is also an extensive network of underground canals, built as early as the 16th century. This intricate sewer system not only keeps the city's canals clean, but also prevents flooding. Staying true to tradition, Amsterdam conducts annual inspections to keep these old canals in working condition and to keep the city afloat. How did jellyfish learn the secret of immortality? In the deep ocean lives the jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii, known as the immortal jellyfish. Unlike other creatures, this jellyfish can revert to its juvenile state, effectively rewinding time. If it ages or suffers injury, it simply regenerates, starting its life cycle over. This process is called transdifferentiation. Scientists believe that the jellyfish's genetic mechanisms may one day help humans extend their lives. Studying the immortal jellyfish not only captivates us, but also opens the door to discovering the secrets of eternal youth. Have you ever noticed that fresh, earthy smell after rain? This unique scent, known as petrichor, fills the air when rain first touches dry soil. The term petrichor comes from the Greek words petra, stone, and ichor, which is the fluid said to flow in the veins of the gods. It's as if each drop of rain reveals the earth's hidden fragrance, captivating our senses with a touch of nature's charm. Can you imagine that the Beatles couldn't read music? One of the most influential bands in history, the Beatles never learned to read sheet music. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr created their legendary melodies and songs purely by ear, relying on their musical intuition. Despite this, they gave the world hit after hit, forever changing the course of musical history. This fact breaks the stereotype that to create great music, one must be a professional musician who reads music. Their exceptional creative talent and improvisational ability prove that passion and talent matter more than technical skills. What if I told you there are floating markets in some countries? In Thailand and Vietnam, you can find markets located right on the water. Traders sell fruits, vegetables, and souvenirs from small boats, creating an amazing and colorful scene. These markets are located along canals where people can literally paddle up to the goods they want. This unique tradition attracts tourists from all over the world, allowing them to immerse themselves in the local culture and trading atmosphere. Tardigrades, survival masters of extreme conditions. These microscopic creatures, also known as water bears, can survive in places where other organisms would perish. Tardigrades can endure freezing temperatures as low as -270 degrees Celsius, boiling heat, radiation, and even the vacuum of space. In extreme conditions, they enter a state called cryptobiosis, where their metabolism nearly stops, turning them into something like a time capsule. In this state, they can survive without water or food for decades. These fascinating creatures inspire scientists to explore new frontiers, and one day, They might even help humans conquer other planets. Did you know that there's a stone forest on Earth? In China's Yunnan province, you'll find one of the most unique natural phenomena, the Shailan, or stone forest. This astonishing forest isn't made of trees, but of towering limestone pillars that rise towards the sky like jagged spikes of rock. The age of this extraordinary forest is over 270 million years. Erosion from rain and wind has sculpted the rocks into such bizarre shapes. For centuries, people have attributed mystical powers to this place, and local legends claim that spirits of nature inhabit Shailan. It's so majestic and mysterious, it almost looks like a set from a fantasy movie. Laika, the first star among space dogs. In 1957, a small Moscow stray named Laika became a true hero when she launched into space aboard Sputnik 2. Laika was the first living being to orbit the Earth, proving that life could survive in zero gravity. Her mission was a key part of the Soviet space program, which paved the way for future space exploration. Though Laika's return to Earth was not planned, her bravery inspired a generation of scientists and marked an important step toward conquering the cosmos. Laika remains a symbol of courage and sacrifice for the sake of progress. Can you imagine? Flamingos aren't born pink. Baby flamingos come into the world with grayish-white feathers. They develop their signature pink hue only after they start feeding on brine shrimp and blue-green algae. These colorful foods contain pigments called carotenoids, which gradually turn their feathers pink. It's a vivid transformation that turns these elegant birds into the beautiful pink creatures we adore. So the next time you see a flamingo, remember, their color is all thanks to their diet. Can you imagine that computer memory once used magnetic rings? In the early days of computing, memory was made up of tiny magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed. These rings stored data, and they could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, this technology was groundbreaking and used until microchips were invented. The rings were literally strung on wires, and every bit of memory was worth its weight in gold. Why zebra foals start running right after birth? Zebra foals can run just 1 hour after being born. This amazing ability helps them survive in the wild, where predators are always on the lookout. Baby zebras are born with strong legs that allow them to stand up quickly and keep up with their herd. Thanks to this skill, they can avoid danger from the very start of their lives. Imagine being able to run within an hour of being born. These striped cuties are ready to show off their impressive speed and agility right from the start. Did you know that cats can make over 100 different sounds? Cats are true vocal virtuosos. They can meow, purr, hiss, growl, and produce countless other sounds, each carrying a specific meaning. Unlike dogs, who mostly bark, cats use a whole range of sounds to communicate with humans and each other. This rich vocal repertoire helps them express their emotions, moods, and desires. If you have a furry friend at home, rest assured they'll find a way to talk to you about their plans. Hell freezes over every year. Believe it or not, there's a town in Norway called Hell, and it literally freezes over every winter. This is not a joke, it's a real place on the map. And although the town is quite small, it attracts tourists every year thanks to its unusual name. Due to Norway's cold climate, Hell is covered in ice and snow every winter, often sparking jokes. "When hell freezes over" is a phrase that is rather common for the residents of this town. So if you want to see hell for yourself, head to Norway in the winter and watch it freeze over. Did you know that a dollar can be changed in 293 ways? When it comes to breaking a dollar, the combinations can be quite diverse. By using various coins like pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, you can make a dollar in 293 different ways. This fact showcases just how intricate and varied the coin system can be and gives a whole new perspective on the humble dollar. Thumbs have their own pulse. Have you ever wondered why people check their pulse using their index and middle fingers instead of their thumbs? It's because your thumb has its own pulse. Each thumb is supplied with blood by the radial artery, which runs along the wrist on the thumb side. This artery is so strong that you can feel its pulse when you touch it. That's why it's recommended to avoid using your thumb when taking a pulse, to prevent mixing up its pulse with your actual heartbeat. Now you know that even your thumb has its own little heartbeat. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8 thousandths of a square kilometer, just 3 thousandths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. Xbox controllers in U.S. submarines. Gaming revolution at the Navy service. Can you imagine that the U.S. Navy uses Xbox controllers to operate periscopes on submarines? This unexpected fact came about due to a desire to make control systems more intuitive and user-friendly for young sailors who are familiar with video games. Additionally, using off-the-shelf gaming controllers significantly reduces the cost of developing complex military systems. This move not only simplified the work of sailors, but also made it a lot more fun. Who would have thought that a beloved gaming gadget would find a place in such serious conditions? Ban on cars on Mackinac Island. How horses defeated cars. Imagine an island where cars have been banned since the late 19th century. Mackinac Island in Michigan became a place where, in 1898, automobiles were completely banned because they frightened horses, the primary mode of transport at the time. Amazingly, this ban remains in effect to this day. Now you can only get around the island by horse, bicycle, or on foot, and even deliveries are made with horse-drawn carts. Mackinac Island is a unique place where you can enjoy quiet streets without the noise of cars. What if I told you that you can boil water just by shaking it? Yes, it's true, although practically impossible to do. If you shake a container of water fast and hard enough, you can create friction, which will raise the water's temperature. Theoretically, if you shake it quickly enough, you could even bring the water to a boil. This unusual physics experiment shows how mechanical energy can be converted into heat. While you won't be making tea this way, the mere possibility that shaking could boil water is astonishing. Is it possible? There is a lake in Tanzania where no one swims. Lake Natron, located near the border with Kenya, is known for its extremely high salinity and alkalinity, which turns any animal that ends up in its waters into a mummy. Birds and fish caught in the lake literally turn to stone due to chemical reactions. Although it looks eerie, the lake's stunning red color draws tourists and photographers. Despite its beauty, locals and travelers never dare to venture into its dangerous waters. Is it really possible that in Spain there is an underground city without a single house above ground? In the town of Setenil de las Bodegas, Spain, people live directly under the rocks with their homes built into caves hidden beneath the earth. This town has existed for hundreds of years, and its streets are literally covered with giant rock slabs, creating the feeling of an underground world. The rock houses protect residents from summer heat and winter cold. Setenil de las Bodegas is so unique that tourists from all over the world come to see how life can exist in such a hidden and mysterious place. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive, but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. Can you imagine that on Mercury, the year is shorter than the day? On Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun, time works in a completely different way than on Earth. It takes only 88 Earth days for Mercury to complete a full orbit around the Sun, but one full rotation on its axis takes 176 Earth days. This means that on Mercury, one day lasts twice as long as a year. Can you imagine living on a planet where morning and evening are separated by months? This astonishing fact makes Mercury one of the most peculiar planets in our solar system. One spaghetti noodle is called spaghetto. Spaghetti is one of the world's most popular dishes, but did you know that if you have just one noodle, it's called a spaghetto? This quirky grammar twist adds a touch of loneliness to an otherwise delicious meal. So if you ever find yourself dining alone on a single strand of spaghetti, don't feel bad. You're just following proper Italian grammar rules. Italian grammar makes food not only delicious, but also a little more poetic. It turns out Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. When we think of pyramids, Egypt is the first place that comes to mind. But here's a surprising fact. Sudan actually has more pyramids than Egypt. Egypt has about 138 pyramids, while Sudan boasts a whopping 255. These ancient structures, though less famous, represent a treasure trove of history yet to be discovered. If you love pyramids and ancient history, Sudan could be your next big adventure. Did you know that platypuses are venomous? This cute and mysterious animal from Australia has a real weapon hidden in its legs. Male platypuses have venomous spurs on their hind legs, which they use to inject toxins into their enemies or competitors during mating battles. While the venom is not deadly to humans, it can cause excruciating pain that lasts for months. Who would have thought that these seemingly harmless animals could be so dangerous? Did you know banana plants can walk? Banana plants may seem immobile, but in reality, they can move. Of course, it's not the kind of walk we're used to, but banana plants do actually shift. Over their lifetime, they can move up to 40 centimeters, stretching their roots toward the sun. This movement is so slow that you can't see it with the naked eye, but if you could speed up time, you'd see the banana plant walking toward a sunnier spot to soak up more light. True sun lovers. Why is Venus hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the sun? Despite Mercury being the closest planet to the sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest planet in our solar system. Its surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, or about 860 degrees Fahrenheit. This is all due to its dense atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which creates a powerful greenhouse effect, trapping heat. Venus's atmosphere acts like a giant blanket, making it resemble an inferno, even though it's farther from the sun. Can cockroaches survive a nuclear explosion? Cockroaches have long earned a reputation as super survivors, capable of withstanding even the most extreme conditions, including high levels of radiation. But is it true that they can survive a nuclear explosion? In reality, cockroaches can indeed survive radiation exposure, but there are creatures far better adapted to this, like certain types of fungi and microbes. Nevertheless, cockroaches remain a symbol of resilience, able to survive conditions that would kill most other living creatures. The first computer bug was a real bug. In 1947, a real moth flew into one of the first computers, causing it to malfunction. This unexpected visitor became the first documented computer bug. Since then, the term bug has been used to describe any glitch in a computer system. Who would have thought that a tiny moth could play such a big role in technological history? This little incident also gave rise to the term debugging, and the story remains a quirky part of tech lore. Elephants can mourn and grieve their lost ones. When a member of their herd dies, elephants display deep empathy and support. The others gather around the body, gently touching it with their trunks, as if saying goodbye. Some even cover the body with branches or leaves and later return to the spot, as if visiting a grave. This behavior shows just how connected elephants are and how deeply they can experience emotions. It's a reminder that understanding loss and respecting the departed is not just a human trait. Is it possible that earthworms can regenerate their bodies? Yes, it's true. If an earthworm loses part of its body, it can regenerate the lost segment. However, contrary to popular myths, if you cut a worm in half, only the part with the head will survive. Regeneration in earthworms is a fascinating process, but it's not as magical as some may think. Imagine being able to regrow parts of your body as if nothing ever happened.